Good morning. Happy Saturday, part 2. I have been asked to review a Schrodinger's cat video that features the plot hole. Because I guess my subscribers just really want to know more. They want to get more education by Johnny O. I've learned his name is Johnny O. Never knew that before. And apparently, Johnny has become a trusted source for news around the community and YouTube in general. He's trusted. Let's see how well Johnny does. We're on 2x speed, and this is long, but I hope we'll get through it.
The link to his channel is in the description box. Let's take a look at his video.
You have a good day,
You're dismissed.
Okay. You have a good day, man.
Yeah, you heard that right. Susan Bassey just dismissed that cop.
Okay, so just out of curiosity, and yes, I am going to stop it fairly often, so I apologize. But out of curiosity, what is the fundamental difference between Susan Bassey saying you're dismissed to the cop and the cop saying, well, you know, if they were my kids, I would really hope that you'd, like, as a person, not do it. What's the fundamental difference between that? Like, they're both just talking, they're both communicating, they're both trying to get under the other's skin. But I guess when the auditor does it, it's bad. And I don't even know if Susan Bassey's an auditor. She's an activist. She's a First Amendment activist. I don't think she's an auditor. Yes, I have gone to her channel, Susan Bassey. She's got 46.5 thousand subscribers. So she's a huge channel. Not like me. 300,000 views. Anyway. I don't know where I was going with this. Let's continue on with the video.
Get the bidet ready. We've got a sneaky one today. Today's show is what?
See, like, and this whole thing, like, just ad hom. Like, why can't you just address the fundamental underlying facts? Why can't you address the fundamental underlying law? Why can't you determine who's right and who's wrong based on the facts and the law? Why does it have to be you're a stinky poo-poo head? Like, how does that add to the conversation? How can a viewer determine whether or not Bassey was justified, whether or not the gal who reported Bassey to the police was justified, whether or not the police did a good job if all they're hearing is Susan Bassey is a stinky poo-poo head?
Brought to you by channel members and patrons alike. To contribute to the show, hit that join button or head over to www.
Hit that join button, like, subscribe, share, donate. Yeah, I mean, just give me them dollary dues. I'm not out there actually making the content. I'm just calling the person who made the content a stinky poo-poo head and doing like 10 seconds of shit tier research and calling it a video. And now I'm educating you because that's what I do. I'm Johnny O. I'm a trusted source for news around the community and YouTube in general.
www.patreon.com/plotHole1. That's the number one, not the loneliest number you can ever do. Rack focus.
Also, if anybody insults his beard, just know that I hate you as a person. Do not insult the man's beard. You know, not every man can have the perfect James Freeman beard, okay? You work with what you got. You don't insult anybody else's. Thank you.
Hey everybody, Johnny O from the Plot Hole here. Feeling a little better than I was yesterday. Hey, want to get you a quick channel update. We are making that final push to 2,000 subscribers. Woohoo! I think
Woo!
we only need about 90, give or take, to hit that goal. So thank you very much for your subscriptions and your likes and your comments and all that fun stuff that you do. All the patrons and channel members who help support the show. You guys are awesome. You're amazing. I greatly appreciate it. I do hope to get there before June 28th, which will be exactly 6 months after.
He has, like, producers.
No, not 6 months. It'll be 18 months after I started the channel.
You know, I have had to fire, like, every producer I've ever had. I've had to fire all my cameramen, all my sound engineers. I mean, how does this guy get and keep producers? Like, I mean, look at the polish. I mean, isn't that so much nicer than the shit I pump out?
Channel and just over 6 months after, just over 6 months after we hit 1,000 subscribers. So if we can hit that mark at 2,000 spot, really I want to be at 2,500 right about now, but I'm taking all the channel growth that I can get because, you know, YouTube's YouTube and it is what it is. I'll never
I just wanted to make sure that I was actually recording his voice this time so you can enjoy his dulcet tones.
complain about being where I'm at. I do have goals, so yeah, let's get to 25 before the end of the month. That'd be awesome. It's only 500 subscribers in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Enough of the gooey show of emotion. On to the duty.
Tony,
You can tell me
I'm not saying that you're under arrest or you're getting a citation. I'm saying that as a human being, if somebody asks you to stop,
Are you here in your official capacity?
See, I hate this thing that cops do where they try to appeal to your morality. They try to appeal to your ethics, but they assume that their ethics are the correct ethics. Everybody has their own. Everybody has their own morality. And, you know, you can really see it like in different cultures. Like if you go to some places like in the U.S., we don't kill and eat dogs. We have a real problem with that. But if you go to some place like China or Korea or someplace like that, they consider dogs to be a food source. They have a different set of morality than we do. They have a different set of ethics, and to try to hold people to your morality, like you can't say they're wrong. You can't say their morality is wrong. You can say what they're doing is legal or illegal. You can personally consider their actions to be moral or immoral, but it's between them and their conscience. It's between them and God, their God. It's not up to you to judge their morality. They don't have to live by yours. And the hubris of this cop to come up and try to lecture Susan Bassey on morals, I find distasteful. The cop is there to enforce the law. He's there to enforce the law. Enforce the law. Don't try to push your morality off on someone. She has a First Amendment right to be doing what she's doing. Here's a spoiler alert for you kids. Not only is Susan Bassey not arrested, but...
Okay.
So that's why, again, I don't know what you guys discussed before I got here. And then we're going to go and talk to them and then figure out what's going on.
Excellent. I'll wait.
Okay.
So the cops are going to go over and talk to the lady who called the police.
Have you talked to them already? Yeah.
She said she asked him.
You don't have to leave, but guess who's taking the walk of shame, kids?
I mean, and you can do that.
I'm not going to stay here if I'm being harassed. If you were being harassed, the cops would have arrested the person who's doing the harassment. But you're not being harassed. You just don't like being filmed in a public place.
If you like, just go on YouTube and request it.
Yeah. If you don't want your kids on the video.
Walk of shame. And you can watch the video. The kids don't make it into this video at all. So I'm not entirely sure what she was pitching a bitch about. But apparently it was completely unwarranted. So there you go. But let's go back to Johnny O educating us. Because Johnny O doesn't include the walk of shame. Isn't that weird? Isn't that crazy that Johnny O doesn't include the walk of shame? Huh? That's fucking weird, huh? Isn't that weird? Like, you think about it for a minute. That's pretty weird. That's pretty weird that he doesn't actually include the conclusion. And he also doesn't include the link, of course. He wouldn't include the link. He did include a link for Schrodinger's Nation, but he didn't include a link for Bassey's channel, which is pretty, again, I find it to be, a pretty shitty maneuver. Again, he could do it. I just don't like it.
As a human being or as a law enforcement agency? Okay.
So I'm telling you right now, they don't want to be filmed.
He's as a law enforcement agency. So let's cite some laws here, huh?
I heard
So if you can, just be a good person and stop filming the children.
This
If you can, just be a good person. Like, who are you? Who gives the cops the authority to define what is or isn't a good person? Like, just go take a long walk off a short pier, dude. Like, no one needs you to tell them who is or isn't a good person.
is Susan Bassey. Now,
Have you ever watched those cop channels where like the cop makes the arrest and they film the entire ride back to like the jail or whatever, where they're going to be checking the suspect in, the arrestee in, and the cop does nothing but like, dude, you're such a bad person. You really need to think about your life. And just bop about like their morality and their judgments. And it's like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, no one cares. You're not my dad. You're not my daddy.
now, I'm sure most of you know who Susan Bassey is. But for those who don't, Susan Bassey is a Santa Clara independent journalist. I think we all know what that means. Police officers...
Well, I'm pretty sure that she is a independent journalist. She reports on various videos. She doesn't monetize. She doesn't monetize her videos, but she does report on various things. So yeah, what authority do you have, Johnny O, to determine who is or isn't an independent journalist? It's, again, the hubris. There's no legal definition of what a journalist is. I mean, you're just saying subjectively that you don't think that she meets your criteria for what an independent journalist is. But who the fuck cares what your independent criteria is? According to her, she's an independent journalist. And she's reporting on the stories and things that she thinks are important. And that's all that matters.
recall because Bassey was filming children. This family asked her to stop. And of course, instead of just saying, oh, hey, you're right, sorry, I didn't mean to catch your kids, I won't put them on there. No big deal, I won't record your kids anymore. Bassey had to stand up for her freedom to record on the beach because I'm allowed to publicly record. Let's see how...
Well, see, again, and this is very disingenuous because he has watched the video and he understands how the video starts. He doesn't have any independent... He doesn't have any independent sourcing for that. So this is where it starts. It starts with the Karen calling the police. That's where it starts.
To stop this type of harassment? The smaller side? Yeah, the smaller side. She seems very unreasonable. I'm not sure if she's intoxicated.
Do you know that it's a crime to make a false police report, ma'am?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
So Susan Bassey is an elderly lady, and I'm not entirely sure why anybody would call the police on her in the first place. Now, this is, of course, this video, we have to remember, this starts in the middle of the action. This is in media res. That's the Latin term for it. So we don't know what went on before it. But Johnny O's filling in the holes for us with pure speculation, a.k.a. bullshit. Pure speculation, a.k.a. bullshit. He has no knowledge of what the prior conversation between Bassey and the Capitola Karen were. Zero. But he's going to tell you he did, because you can fill in the blank there for yourself. Bullshit.
How this one plays out.
Bro, yeah. These guys, I'm sure, don't want to be filmed when...
Yeah, let's see how it plays out, Johnny O. Like, let's get all the way to the conclusion where the Capitola Karen takes the long walk of shame, and the person that you call a soft-sit Karen, who did not go to the manager, who did not go to the authorities, who handled her own business herself, she's the Karen, according to you, because you're just bass backwards on all of this.
When they're in bikinis and
I just interviewed them. I just interviewed them.
Right. Well, I'm just telling you, if I had my small children here and you came up to me and started videotaping me and my family, and I asked you...
No one cares about your opinion, dude. What would you do? Would you assault her if she didn't stop filming your kids when you had them at the public beach? Would you violate the law, Mr. Officer Man? Oh, you'd ask her nicely? Well, maybe this other guy asked her nicely. But that doesn't mean that she doesn't have a right to do it.
multiple times to stop, I would hope that you would stop.
So when
I would hope that you would stop. Oh, well, good for you. Good for you. No one cares. Like, why do cops think the world revolves around them? I don't understand that. Like, you're just a cop, dude. Enforce the law and shut your pie hole.
a 49er is involved in an incident and the public and the 49ers start making threats to that child, how would you feel about that?
What the hell does that have to do with the price of tea in China?
Again, so what does that have to do with the price of tea in China? That's a great question, Johnny O. You decided to leave it in this video. You decided to leave that in. You didn't put in the ending where the Capitola Karen took the walk of shame. You didn't put that in, but you put the irrelevant stuff in there so you could say, what does that have to do with the price of tea in China, right? Because you're trying to make the soft-sit Karen look bad. You're trying to make Susan Bassey look bad. And you've taken down a 15-minute video, you've chopped it up, you've played probably about 10 minutes, the 10 minutes that you like of it up, and we don't know why Susan Bassey brought it up.
Please stand and enforce that. Okay, well, you got some in your jurisdiction,
Yeah.
and I'm looking at protecting those children too.
Okay, I don't know what that is. If you can educate me.
I will educate you. Do you want me to tell you that there was a domestic violence incident involving the 49ers in 2014?
The 49ers like sports team?
Yes, and the 49ers manager started calling the victim. And
See that jump cut in there?
do you want me to tell you that there was a domestic violence incident involving the 49ers in 2014?
The 49ers like sports team?
Yes, and the 49ers manager.
You see that jump cut? What are you hiding, Johnny O? What are you hiding? That's kind of, you know what I mean? What are you hiding there, buddy?
Started calling the victim and the children, and it got leaked by the courts to the reporters who circled the child's house. So I make sure that doesn't happen with reporters and other things. So I understand my ethical duty about publishing, and I also understand my ethical duty about...
Wait. I'm confused.
You are confused because you have no fucking idea what you're doing.
Because a member of the 49ers football organization was involved in a domestic dispute or domestic disturbance or domestic violence or whatever involving a child, therefore you were filming other people's children in order to protect children?
No, I believe her point, my mentally challenged friend, is that when there was a domestic incident involving the 49ers, the reporters came there and they filmed the children. Susan Bassey says that she understands her ethical obligations that she feels that she has, and she is not going to film the children, i.e. publish them. So the other reporters who circled the house for the 49er with the domestic violence, they published images of the children. Susan Bassey did not. Is that really hard to understand? Like, is that hard to understand? Why do you need me to tell you this? You had the whole video. If you didn't jump cut it out, you would understand it. Like, why do you need me to explain this to you? Oh, because you get to infer that Susan Bassey is stupid and it makes her look bad. Okay.
Right.
What I don't understand
Oh, that was so spicy. Right.
is why the police are still not trained to not respond to recording and public calls and are wasting public resources doing this in 2021. That's what I don't understand.
That's a great question. Why didn't the dispatcher say, okay, well, like, what is she doing? Oh, she's filming kids at the public beach. Well, that's protected activity, ma'am. Like, we're not going to send the cops. I've heard dispatches like that. Jeff Gray gets a lot of public records requests, and he publishes the 911 calls, and that's fairly common, at least in Jeff Gray's circumstance, where the dispatcher's like, yeah, sorry, what he's doing or she's doing is perfectly legal. It's constitutional right to do it. We don't like it, but they could do it, so we can't stop them. Sorry. And they don't dispatch the police.
Because when we get multiple calls about somebody filming small children, we come out here and
Then
double
you
check.
need to address your policies and procedures.
No.
Because when someone's being burglarized or there's a problem that law enforcement needs to respond
Then
to,
we'll get a call for service. And
Forgive me for breaking into your video, Johnny, but I can't help myself. She's saying that the police cannot respond to burglaries and other serious crimes because they're dealing with her. Hey, Susan, dummy, you see that thing on his chest? That's a radio. If a priority call comes in, dispatch can call him on that radio, at which time he will leave you to victimize children on the beach while he responds to more serious matters. Seriously.
So there's going to be a burglary somewhere close to the beach. Like, the police generally know where burglaries and other crimes tend to happen. And sending officers to a specific point does make them unavailable for other things. So, yeah. It is a waste of resources. Those officers could be doing other things. Unless you're going to tell me that, like, there's no other crimes happening anywhere around the city. The police get a lot of calls. They get a lot of calls every day, and they don't respond to all of them. So they get to pick and choose. They have to pick and choose, and they prioritize things like burglaries and things like that. But in this particular instance, they chose to dispatch cops to a non-crime. So that's a good question. I'm sure there are other actual crimes that these officers could be responding to at this point. Maybe minor crimes like shoplifting or like trespassing or something like that. But I mean, this is California. We've got plenty of crimes, bro. There are other things cops could be doing.
Think before you speak.
but now I got 2 police officers coming out here for a recording and public call.
Yeah, this is my sergeant.
Yeah, that's pretty stupid. 2 police officers coming out for a recording on the beach. That's pretty stupid. That's really stupid.
He's out here for the
Excellent.
officers in the city right now.
Great, so we'll do a public records request for the roster.
Little kids.
Wait, he's coming out here because
2
what?
police officers coming out here for a recording and public call.
Yeah, this is my sergeant. He's out here for the
Excellent.
officers in the
We're the only 2 officers from the
Great, so
city
we'll do a public-
right now. We're the only 2 officers from the city right now. We are the only 2 officers from the city right now. So the entire city police force that's on duty. Capitola is not a huge city, I guess, but the only 2 police officers on duty are there. Huh? If I understand that correctly, that seems like an excellent use of resources.
Records request for the roster.
Little kids.
Yeah, because somebody called, so you're going to blame me.
Susan, she's out here filming because something about the 49ers. But this family here,
That wasn't what I told you. I told you I've been filming this speech.
her children, she's filming other people around the beach. And
Your body cam's on right now?
it's always on there.
Okay,
Yeah.
sir, you just
So-
miscommunicated to your sergeant.
All I told her was if I had a family and I had small children and I asked her to stop filming my small children, I would hope as a person that she would stop. And then she started talking about the 49ers. Like, she kind of lost me there. So if you want to handle it, I give her my name and badge number.
Hi, your name and badge number, please, sergeant?
My first name's Leo.
Leo?
My badge number's 518.
And what's your last?
Lots to unpack here. First, police officers are duty bound to respond to calls. That's kind of
What? I have a whole playlist on the police don't have a duty to respond to calls. There is no cite your authority, sir. I'm sure you're going to cite an authority where police are duty bound to respond to calls. No, he's not.
of what they're here for. If someone calls in a complaint, they have to investigate. They
No, they don't.
show up, talk to the people whom they're complaining about, who made the complaint or whatever, and assess the situation. If they determine the person who called in the complaint did so illegally or it was a false complaint or they shouldn't have done that, then during their assessment, they'll figure that out and have a conversation with the person who called the complaint in. But they have to assess the situation first.
They don't. They don't have to show up.
Acting like an entitled Karen, protecting her soft-sit rights is going...
See, he abuses the word Karen. A Karen is someone who doesn't handle her own shit, but goes to the manager, who goes to the police, who goes to some other authority figure for her minor petty-ass bullshit and demands that someone else get involved because she feels entitled to have her way. And the Karen in this situation was the gal who called the police and who ultimately had to take the walk of shame.
to continue this police contact.
Marino, how do you spell it? M-O-R-E-N-O?
It's regular.
You related to any of the Marinos in Santa Clara County?
Hector Marino, do you know that you're being investigated for that right now? Related to the Brooks case and Nat Hales, is there a reason why you didn't contact me back when I told you that Nat Hales had never complied with his oath or posted the Brooks case or any others that he was presiding over in private judging under California CCP 638 and 639?
I just make a point of not talking to somebody who is diagnosed as being mentally unstable.
Did you
I
just
think that's you.
Did you say I've been diagnosed as being mentally unstable?
That's what I've heard.
Okay, well, who'd you hear that from, Hector Marino?
If I were a betting man, I would put good solid money on you having some sort of undiagnosed or diagnosed mental health condition. I mean, never mind that this isn't the same person.
Well, normally it's my understanding that psychiatrists and psychologists won't diagnose someone unless they've actually had an opportunity to examine them, i.e. they won't diagnose them off of videos on the internet or anything like that. Now, I could be wrong, but that's my understanding of the ethical obligations of psychiatrists and psychologists to not diagnose people with mental illnesses or mental disabilities or anything like that without actually having examined them. But I guess Johnny is now a psychologist, and he is a good enough psychologist that he can diagnose mental illnesses from videos off of YouTube. So I guess he just gets to make shit up like that. Well, I'm going to go ahead and diagnose Johnny O with having a small penis. Now, I can't prove it, but I'm willing to bet that either he has a small penis or he identifies as having a small penis. It's the same thing. What I just did there is the same thing as him diagnosing Bassie with having a mental health condition.
As a cop on the beach. I mean, Moreno is not uncommon. It's not hugely popular, but it's not uncommon. I think there's over 170,000 instances of the last name Moreno in the United States. Most of them are...
This motherfucker Googled how many Morenos are in the United States. She asked a simple question. Are you related to this other Moreno? That's it. I mean, is that an unreasonable question to ask? Is it unreasonable?
going to be in the more ethnic areas of the world, like California. So because this guy shares the last name with that guy, come on, man.
Yeah, so she asked. I mean, what is the harm in asking? She's an investigative reporter. They ask questions. What's the harm, man?
It doesn't matter. How can I help you?
You can't help me at all. I'm out at the beach and I'm working on documentary
Why doesn't he answer? That's really weird. That's a kind of question there.
and filming projects. And I'm filming. And you had someone call the police, and your policies and procedures obviously require responding with 2 police officers and a sergeant, so now we're going to need to do a public records request. There you go.
It's just myself and one other officer. No, you're the officer.
2 officers responding to a recording in public call.
2 officers responding to a public disturbance call. Yeah.
A public disturbance call where she identified the public disturbance as a gal filming. Okay.
They tend to do that. Oh, and by the way, if you're recording for documentary purposes, the California state says you have to acquire a permit to do so. California Code of Regulations 4316, commercial filming. Except where authorized by the department, no person shall photograph, videotape, or film for commercial, profit, and sale purposes in any unit or portion thereof owned, operated, or administered by the department without a permit from the California Film Commission.
What? That's again, this is just shit tier research by Johnny O. Absolute shit tier. Number 1, this video is not monetized. So that's an oopsie doodle. That's a big oopsie doodle. So it's not commercial. That's number 1. Number 2, Capitola Beach. This is the California.gov website. And this is the website, the official website for the beach. Go to the website, Capitola Beach. It is owned, operated, and managed. It is part of Capitola. And you go to Capitola, and they have their own film permit ordinances. So the thing that he's looking at is if it's operated by the department, i.e. the Department of the DWB. Whatever. DBW. Anyway, so if it's operated by the department, great. But it's not. It is operated by the city. It's not State park, it's a city beach. So, oopsie freaking doodles, kids. Shit tier research. Number one, not commercial. Number two, not operated by the state. This is not relevant at all.
Pursuant to government.
Oh, also, you might want to notice, again, she wasn't issued any citations or fines or arrested or anything like that. You know, reality, sometimes reality is a pretty good indicator of whether something is or isn't illegal. If the police come out and they don't say you're breaking the law, and they don't issue a citation, and they don't arrest you, and they don't issue a warning or anything like that, but instead they have the person who reported you leave after you told the police exactly what you're doing, that's a pretty good indication that at least the police don't think that there's any crime afoot there. That's a pretty good indication.
Code sections 14998.8. Note that recording video for YouTube and other social media outlets that result in financial gain and photography that will be used in a professional portfolio, whether for photographer or the model or subject, is deemed commercial photography. So occasion.
Yeah, so just here's another stupid idea. Like, what if everybody who went to the beach and did a recording and ended up putting it on their YouTube channel and monetizing it, what do you think would happen? Like, do you think California would chase all those people down? Do you think California really cares? Or do you think that particular statute is more targeted at like production companies, people who are going to film and like take up the space, who are going to infringe upon the enjoyment of that space by other parties by roping off sections of it to do stunts, or, you know, have the lifeguards, you know, run slow-mo down the beach, down a cleared beach for their for the intro to their, what was that David Hasselhoff one with the lifeguards? Anyway, you probably remember it. So it's not really. Yes, I understand it can just be for YouTube, but it's if there's some production involved, that's what they really care about. It's not so much that, oh, you pulled out your cell phone and you recorded something and then posted on your YouTube channel. They don't really care about that. They're not even going to try to enforce that.
You didn't know. Your documentary requires a permit.
Your documentary requires a permit.
Except it didn't, and it doesn't, and you're wrong.
I'm trying to figure out what's going on here.
You don't get to know why I'm recording, just like I don't get to know what you're investigating.
We're telling you why we're here.
I heard you. Are you?
Anyway, I think I've done enough of this. I think we've hit the high notes. I'm kind of bored with it. So Johnny O, another swing and a miss, another fail train. Good job of citing laws that don't exist and failing to back your claims about the police have a duty to respond to calls. That was a chef's kiss. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.